In this clip, we'll learn a technique for painting believable stubble, which would be suitable for a shaved head or a shaved face. Okay, great. So at this point, we've created some of these kind of small details around the skin and built the base for the character's body here. Now, one little detail that I do want to add is kind of some stubble, both on his head and on his face. Now, if you remember our hair texture set, this character is being designed in such a way that he could operate with the hair objects, or maybe there's an alternate set of hair objects where he has no beard and maybe only a mustache, or no beard, no mustache, no hair at all, except for his eyebrows. So we're designing this in a modular fashion. So let me come back and bring our body in, and let's jump over here into my skin group, and I've got a stubble group created. Now I'm going to drop in a couple of fill layers. By the way, there's a few different ways that you can do this. This is the way that I kind of prefer to do it. I think it suits my own style best personally. I am going to drop black masks on both of these two fill layers. Okay, great. So in my opinion, creating the believable look of stubble is about 50-50 setting up your brush the right way and choosing the right colors. So we're going to sort of intermix two colors together, one of which is going to be kind of a dark grayish blue. Now for this particular layer, I'm going to contribute to the roughness and the color. And let's choose that blue. I'm going to come in here and choose maybe something in this neighborhood to start, I think. All right. Now the second color we're going to actually worry about in a bit, but I will go ahead and set this layer up in exactly the same fashion. Now this color I'm going to choose more of a saturated orange. And this is going to be to tie in to sort of his base hair color. Okay. Back down here with our bluish gray, I'm going to call this dark or darker value. And we'll call this, I don't know, lighter value, just so we can keep them separate. And I'm going to select the mask. Okay. So now that the layers are set up, let's come over here to our shelf. And with that mask selected, we're going to look for the right alpha. Now I've been looking through the alphas that come with Substance Painter, and we could bring in our own hair alpha if we wanted to, and then manipulate that to paint the stubble. Now, one alpha that I find that works pretty well is going to be this Dirt Spots Hollow. Let's take this and let's drag it over into our alpha. Just like so. All right. Now, after we've done that, we're going to want to come in and start to configure our brush. Now, the parameters that I'm concerned with here are the size jitter, the flow jitter, the angle jitter, and the position jitter. And you can see here that I've configured those in such a way where we're getting a little bit of jitter in the position, quite a bit in the angle, which is rotating the alpha. And then the flow, there's a little bit there and quite a lot in the size. So the way this alpha is being projected, it's being projected at about a 54% variance in size. Okay, let's come back over here and let's begin to paint. So we're painting white into this black mask, and I'm going to paint a simple area here. And we're going to come in and start with these parameters here. Now I do have flow pressure control turned on as well as size, but I don't know that I need size. Let's come in and turn that off and see if we can maybe change the way this looks. Yeah, I think that's going to work fine. So I'm just kind of brushing lightly here, and we're creating almost a pattern of noise, if you will, on the surfaces of his head. So now, if you brush too much in one area, you're going to see maybe more pigment being dropped down, or it's going to be a bit darker in that area because of the various flows stacking on top of one another. Let me show you an example of an area. Maybe this area right here, I don't know if you can tell, that area right there looks a little darker to me. We can always hit the X key, come back in and brush the pattern out in the exact same way, just to kind of smooth out any inconsistencies. So we're going to do this in a number of different places here, on his head as well as anywhere hair would grow on his face. Now, I'm probably not going to do this for the eyebrows, but anywhere for like a mustache or a beard, I'm going to paint this pattern in those areas. Okay. Now, one other important thing here, let's jump over and select our layer thumbnail. I'm going to alternate the roughness. I'm going to drive the roughness value up pretty high. Now, when I do that, if we come over here, it's going to be subtle, but it's going to create some breaks where the light is not reflecting off the head in quite the same fashion. This is going to work to our advantage. It's going to help continue to sell that illusion. So I'm going to come in here and brush this a little bit more in this area here. And kind of switching back and forth. Now, the beautiful thing about this is we don't have to do it perfectly clean. We do have a group that this layer is sitting inside of that we can still apply a mask to. If we want to come in and clean everything up just a bit, maybe we get some ink on his ears, maybe there is some that falls in places we just don't want it, then we can always come in and add a mask there to begin to clean that up. All right, so that's starting to look pretty good. Now, what's going to help to sell this illusion a lot more is if we begin to come in and start adding in some oranges to this pattern. Now, his hair is red, so this orange, it's going to have to be just the right orange. We don't want it to be lighter than his average skin tone. So if I come in and start to brush in that orange, you can see here, well, that might be a little light in value. It's a little bit difficult to see. As a matter of fact, it's getting pretty thick right there, and we can't really even see it. So I'm going to come in and manipulate this orange color a bit. We'll come in and maybe make that a bit darker, a bit more saturated, maybe even a little bit more on the red side. Okay, I like the look of that. I'm starting to feel that a bit more. Okay, back to our mask, we can come in here and again, start to apply this color. Now, applying it on top of that bluish gray color is going to create some mixing. But again, what is really going to sell this illusion is the consistency of the noise pattern. If you think about the human head and the face and where the hair naturally grows, where has it been shaved on this particular character in comparison? And in addition to that, think about the thickness of the hair. How thick does the hair grow in that specific area? Now you can see we are starting to sort of run out of space here where we did our gray. But there's a definite difference between this area right here on the back side of his head as opposed to over here where we've started to mix in some warmer values in with these cooler values. So that's how I would do the stubble on his head. Now, when you start to look at this in conjunction with the hair we've already painted, it's just going to add to the illusion that this is a hairstyle that he has fashioned for himself. This is an intentional thing. He does indeed have hair that grows in other places. All right, great. So I'm going to go ahead and continue painting this pattern in between this clip and the next clip. When you come back though, in the next clip, we're going to begin designing and applying the scars to the body.